Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? I hope everybody's doing good today. Happy Saturday. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate y'all for joining me and my little friend. This is one of our smallest puppies we got. She was the first one born, but she is the tiniest. And she's so sweet and snuggly. And it's puppy time. So, this is little Emmy. Let me get her little paw so I don't lose her. There we go. That's her little face and her little bitty body. Her so sweet.
Should be opening their eyes about 1 week.
Next week, hopefully, they'll start to open their eyes.
And ears.
And their ears will start opening up. So, go lay down, Mama. Mama's about to go crazy. But, anyways, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all. I decided we'd get about 10 minutes in. I was sitting here ready to go. So I thought, let's just do this. So I went ahead and started a live a little early. But, oh, thank you. They grow so fast. I have to cut them back every couple of weeks. But, they are corgi and red heeler mix. And this one here is going to be more on the corgi side. So, anyways, let me say hi to everybody. Let's get our little banner pulled up here. And I'm going to say hi to everybody coming in. Thank y'all for being here. Oh, hello, Miss Janice. How are you? Hi, Brown Eyed Girls. All I need is coffee, Jesus Coffee and True Crime. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to change the time. Justin decided to go live, so I had to move it back. Hi, Miss Kathy. And hey, TJ. Hi, Holly. Let's see. Panda Bear's mom said Devlin Tate's. Oh, it jumped. Hold on. Let me get back up here. Devlin Tate's flyers on the website. Everyone can share it. He's missing from Lake Odessa, Michigan. He's 18, has autism, but mentally presents as a 7 to 8-year-old child. He's been missing since April 21st of this year. Oh, goodness, bless his heart. Let's see. Hello, Blue Eyes. How are you doing, girl? Give your mama a big hug. Y'all say a prayer for her mama. She is very, very sick. Hi, Cheryl. Cinderella. How are y'all doing? Let's see. Hi, Angela. How are you? Hi, Gemini 2. Maui Sun. How are you? Detroit Rock City. Hello. Hi, Miss Charlene. How are you doing, my friend? Let's see. Baba Rose. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here. All righty. Let's get going, guys. She is starting to squirm around. I guess when I started talking, it woke her up. She was laying here asleep on her back. Yep, she's asleep again. But can y'all believe how crazy everything's getting in Sebastian's case? It is insane crazy. Insane crazy. I don't understand it. I don't understand the reason why. I just don't get it. So sad. So sad. Look at her. She don't look like she has a head. She's got it all turned around. She just curls up in a little sideways ball. But today I'm going to show you a couple of things first before we get started too much. And then we're going to go back to week 7. And I found an it wasn't an interview, but it was a discussion about Katie and Chris. I found it very, very interesting. And I thought we would go over it. But before we do, I have something very interesting I want to show you guys. Let's see here. This is a profile for Mr. Chris, okay? And they put that he had spent, and I can't verify what was put on there as far as him being 16 years and 1 month in the Navy as a career counselor. But this is a profile with Christopher Proudfoot. It does have things that it talks about that pretty much verifies it's him. It talks about crane operator, those kind of things. But I found this very, very interesting. He lists his skills: military. Look at this next one: organizational leadership, operational planning. How convenient. And then Navy and military leadership. Organizational leadership, organizing things that are taking place. Operational planning, all the logistics to make everything happen. I thought, those 3 a.m. flashlights would use some organizational leadership, operational planning for sure. For sure. So I thought I would share that with you because, oh my gosh, whatever happened with that 3 a.m. flashlight, it was planned. There was a plan in place because a person knew that they were coming at 3 a.m., where to park, who they were going to be waiting for. They knew where to drop one person off so that one light can come across the common area to meet the other light coming from the Proudfoot's home. Amazing, isn't it? So I thought that was very interesting. I wanted to share with y'all. And then let's play this little clip here from TikTok that was put out. It's pretty interesting. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. Make sure I got the right one. Okay, here we go.
We were discussing how Chris allegedly told someone that law enforcement told him that Sebastian was likely deceased and that he was north or northwest 15 to 20 miles from Hendersonville, their Stafford Court home. Now, a lot of people were catching on to the fact that Seth Rogers does live in Clarksville, which is northwest of their Hendersonville home. And I do agree that that area should be searched if it hasn't been, just in case someone puts Sebastian in that area to possibly throw suspicion on Seth. But I also feel like they're not really talking about Seth here because although he does live northwest, he doesn't live 15 to 20 miles from that Stafford Court home. As you can see, Clarksville is northwest of Hendersonville. However, it is about 52.8 miles away. 15 to 20 miles northwest of Hendersonville is actually Springfield, Tennessee, and 15 to 20 miles north of Hendersonville is Portland, Tennessee. I actually did some digging into both of those cities and found out that Chris Proudfoot actually has family members that live in Portland, Tennessee by way of his mom and stepfather, Kathy and Terry Bowersox. Could that just be a coincidence? I don't know. Maybe. Now, I want to talk about this location right here because we have proof that Katie Proudfoot was at the Mint Gaming Hall in Kentucky on April 8th, 2024. a little under 2 months after Sebastian Rogers went missing. And she had a gaming card here, which, to my understanding, means that this was a place that she went to frequently, likely with her husband, Chris Proudfoot, or even maybe with his mom or his sister, who she does normally hang out with. And I just think that it's worth noting that this gaming hall is north of Hendersonville, north of their Stafford Court home. And you actually go through Portland, Tennessee to get there. As you can see, the bottom little white pinpoint is Hendersonville, their Stafford Court home. A is Portland, Tennessee. And that B, where the red pinpoint is the gaming hall. Was this path searched? Were these areas combed through? Because I definitely think that it's worth noting that this area is north of the Proudfoot's home. This is a path that we know Katie Proudfoot took. We know that the Bowerstocks have connections to this northern area, as does Chris Proudfoot. And it's an area that could be classified as very rural. There's a lot of woods, there's a lot of trails, there's a lot of bodies of water here and in the neighboring towns. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this. Do you think I could be onto something? Let me know in the comments and make sure to follow for more updates. So,
all right, guys. So, what do y'all think about that? What are your thoughts? You know, to go that direction that he's talking about, that Mr. Chris mentioned, would put close to that area. And guys, for a mother who's missing her child, 2 months, she's going to be gambling. Red flags, my friend. Red flags. Red flags. 2 months, I couldn't even get out of bed. And here's Sebastian's mom going gambling. Oh, but wait, she had already gone on vacation too. Don't forget that part. Yeah, early on. Yeah, very much red flags, TJ. Yes, yes, yes. I'm telling you, it's too much. It's too much. They did go on vacation. And then, how come I'm yellow? What happened here? The dog hit the buttons for the light here. Turn me yellow. I was jaundiced for a minute. Sorry, guys. But yeah, not only did they go on vacation, but she's gambling it 2 months after her job's gone. That does not make sense. Does not make sense. It was close to a year before Seth ever left his home overnight. But yet these people, they want to go nuts about Seth. Yeah, she knows where he is, definitely. That's why she's not upset. She knows exactly where he is. Exactly. They are reckless. They're going to get themselves in trouble. Their own words alone make them look guilty. They make them look guilty. That's all. I mean, what more can you say? If you have time for vacation and casino visits, she didn't have time for her child's search parties or vigils. Remember, they had prayer vigils. Didn't have time for that either. Didn't have time to do any more interviews because, vacation and casinos come first, guys. Especially for Katie Proudfoot. So, I don't know. I don't know. This case is so out of control. It's to the point where it's stupid. And sorry, my glasses keep falling off. I think I need to go get them adjusted. And my granddaughter sat on them. But it cannot get any crazier than it already is. But yet I'm expecting it to, because who would have ever thought people would be threatened? Who would have ever thought lawsuits would be filed? All from people talking about a missing child. Who would have thought that subs found this out last night? One of Brittany's subs, I think she's a mod for her, actually. Queen Bee showed her house, a sub, because she went up on Brittany's panel. This is not about Sebastian anymore. And that's what they want. They want so many distractions. Oh, good, Holly. So Hong did say more boards are up. Good. Good. This little one likes to lay down. She'll do a whole barrel roll before she gets comfortable. But they are 1 week old today, y'all. Oh, to be so oblivious to the world. But yeah, it's very sad. Sebastian is lost in his own case. In his missing case, he's lost. What more do they want? They want blood for people. They want people to actually hurt. They want to destroy. And who's on their panels? Mr. Chris. He's on their panels. Hi, Heidi. Hi to everybody else that's come in. Welcome. I appreciate you all being here. Me and my little co-host here, little Emmy. But okay, so we're going to go ahead and start listening to this. It's a news. It's not an interview, but they go over and discuss stuff. And I found it very interesting. This was 7 weeks after Sebastian was missing. So we're talking a month and a half after he's gone. And it's amazing that even these people caught on to things we're catching on to as well. It's not just us, folks. We're not making things up, because these people that are out there that talk about Sebastian's case, whether it's on the news or other things, Nancy Grace. Look at Nancy Grace, Jennifer Coffindaffer. Very smart and intelligent people. And they catch on to the same things we're catching on to. It's obvious. That's how obvious it is. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here, Caroline. I appreciate you. I really do. 407 billboards will be put up. Oh my God, that's amazing. Hey, Rachel. How are you? Welcome. Girl, I tell you, it's sad. It is so sad. Because here we are today, guys. Today, officially, 14 months. 14 months. He's been missing. And there's absolutely not one bit of evidence to say he left that home. No evidence at all. There would be digital evidence with ring cameras, security cameras, all those things. There would be somebody catching him walking somewhere. But yet there's nothing at all. That means he would have had to left his house and stayed completely in the dark. But it was a full moon that night, guys. It was brighter that night than it usually is. He would have been seen. The last official sighting of him was at Texas Roadhouse about 6:30ish. As he's getting in the car, his mother backs up out of the parking spot, and as they start to go forward, that is the last time Sebastian is seen by anyone other than his mother. That woman holds the key to all of it. She holds the key. She could just bust this thing wide open by speaking the truth. But instead, she continues to add to the count. We're at 5 different stories now. And guys, tomorrow is their story, if I'm not mistaken, for America's Most Wanted. I will be recording it so that we can all see it. And I'm expecting story number 6 to come out. I mean, surely she's not going to let us down now, right? What's the use of letting us down now? Nobody's going to believe her if she actually tells the truth anymore. Just like Mr. Chris, he'd been saying he was in Memphis the night of the 25th. Said that for 1 whole straight year. And then comes out a couple of weeks ago and says, here's a new one for you. I was actually in Mississippi. Oh, goodness. She's so cute. I can't help it. I can't help but hold her and play with her. She's the tiniest one, guys. And I just love her. It's going to be hard to get rid of her. Yeah, we got puppy. 1 week old little girl, Emmy. Little Emmy. Her don't even have her eyes open yet. Her don't even have her little eyes open yet. So sweet. So sweet. She's just so cute. And she just falls asleep again. She's sleeping. Yes, I think we should, Charlene. We'll be having a watch party for sure. All I have to do is log on to Hulu here on my computer and we can screen share it. Mom is a corgi and dad is a red heeler. Oh, let me get my nail out of the way. Mama's right here sniffing. See, she's okay. Okay, she's okay. Oh, she got a hold of Mama. She smelled Mama. Her little body, her so sweet. She was the first one. I got to get her from the sack and start drying her off because Mom was trying to get all of her business done and taken care of. So sweet. If we could all be so sweet and innocent like little baby puppies, we'd have it made, wouldn't we? Okay, so let's see. Bo says, let's see. Yes, it's supposed to be tomorrow, is what I've heard. So, okay, I'm going to do this, share the screen. We're going to do this interview. I want y'all to hear it because it is really, really good. And it's very surprising how early on that they were even catching on to all the stupidness. Okay, we got our copyright up. We're doing this as fair use. I am going to play a little tiny music in the background just in case. The channel is in the description, so you can get that link and everybody go check it out if y'all want to check it out on your own. And here we go. Let's see. Is this music? Let's go just a bit more. Okay, there we go. All righty, guys, here we go. And y'all pay attention to the words they're using because they see through them already at 7 weeks. It's amazing. Here we go. And this is surviving the survivor. Surviving the Survivor is the channel, and they talk. And their guest tonight is Heather Cohen, the PI for Seth at the time. And she's very vague on some of her answers. So here we go.
Well, from the macro perspective, you look at, you always have to, when the case starts, go with all the possibilities, because you don't want to rule one out and then close your eyes to it. And that's the dangerous part of some of these. So you want to look at if he really did just walk out of his in bare feet, how far would he go? How would he get to a place and all those things? And then you look at was he lured out via online stuff, and you start going down that road. And then you look at the one that always usually turns out to be one of the most likely ones is someone involved that knows them, and a lot of times it's domestic. So you go down those roads, and when you look at it now, how far can a 15-year-old walk in bare feet that you're not getting any? And they did the right things in the beginning. They had all the searches out. They had the canines. They had all those things that you would think lead to something. But you're also looking then at all his online stuff, his phone, his video games, all his communications. And if you're still not finding anything that's leading you down to that road that someone lured him out, that he was communicating with someone, and then you start looking at all the other things, naturally, how you track. I've been to a ton of man tracking courses as a sniper.
L. Kennedy, this was new to me as well. I was very surprised when I got this. I had someone send this to me, and I was like, what the heck? How have we not seen this? But y'all listen to them talk. They got questions like us. They have questions.
There's ways to really look at finding a person that is just not trying to evade you, that's walking out there. But then you start looking at, like I started watching all the videos today and all the inconsistencies of people that he was involved with that are saying things. And the stories that they laid out are somewhat provable. If she said that they were at BJ's has cameras, and you can start looking at cell phone data, even on the commercial ID side of where they were during that day. And you start matching up where in that story do things start leading like from what they're not saying.
Here.
But then you start looking at the commentary that he's saying, and he's getting caught up in lies from one interview to another. And you have to start like wondering, okay, why is he lying? Why is he saying one thing to one person and something else to, say, Nancy Grace or some of these other folks?
You're talking about Chris Proudfoot, the stepfather.
Yeah, the stepfather. So you start looking at that and we're like, well, like just because someone's lying doesn't mean they're lying for the reason that you think so, but you have to end up going down that route. And you're still following all the other leads with that. And then you start getting pulled back. You can't put blinders on, but you start going like, why is it not logical that we can't find a 15-year-old boy that walked out of his house without shoes, that wasn't trying to evade us, that just naturally did that? And then you go into, we find no communications on any of his electronic devices, because by now 7 weeks, You've done all the search warrants on emails, cell phones, video games, and I've done a lot of technical things trying to find kidnapped people, that you can start going down that road and seeing who's communicating with them. And now you start bringing in all the cell data of the stories that were laid out there. I just don't understand the inconsistencies during the interviews. I did undercover and I lied to people for 2 years, and you have to stay on top of it. But these are just really bad. They're talking and they're just not remembering what they're saying, which is great for investigators to be able to start saying, well, you said this to one person. In the Nancy Grace interview, as a police officer, I would have loved it, because a lot of times when you bring them into a police station or you start interviewing them, the whole thing about, the informing of the rights and them locked, she just went down every wicket, got both of them into a story that now that is their story that you can start unraveling, so to speak.
And oh, how easy it's been. They've actually helped us unravel their story. It's crazy. 7 weeks. And he said, Mom can't even get her story straight. 7 weeks, guys. That's how crazy this is. That at 7 weeks, it's obvious to everyone that mother is lying. So why has nothing been done? There's a child missing and the mom can't even tell the truth. Surely something can be done.
I heard the word sniper, Rob, so I got to ask you, where were you a sniper? What branch of the military? Was it military?
Actually, it was FBI. I was in the Marine. I was reconnaissance, and then when I was over at the hostage rescue team, I was a sniper.
Thank you for your service. Something I can never do is be a sniper. I got shaky hands. I'd never be a sniper. Annie K, always with the good questions. I'm going to throw this one over to Heather, and then we will hear from Tracy finally. But Heather, Annie K, by the way, Heather, are you working now in an official capacity on this case? Heather, yeah, I'm sorry.
I would have my mic muted because my dog was barking. Yes, I am.
Can you tell us a little bit more?
Well, to be honest, I was wanting to hide, in the shadows for a little bit, but what I understand, I believe that the sheriff gave a statement to Channel 2 today that there have been 2 private investigators hired, and so the cat's out of the bag. Myself and there is another private investigator also has been officially hired, and so yeah.
And are you hired?
And folks, let's not forget, she is now unhired. And there has been a connection shown between her and Stephen Fisher. The Proudfoot's PI. They hired. Something ain't right here, folks. There's been corruption from early on in this case. And it's coming from one side. Not out.
Hired, if I can ask, by Sumner County? Is that who hired you?
No, I am hired by the biological father. And again, I didn't want that to be known publicly, but the cat's out of the bag. Everybody knows, so there's really no reason to hide it at this point.
Wow.
Yes,
You're hearing it here for
Yes.
the first time. Heather Cohen's firm, Justice Warriors, now working in an official capacity, hired by Seth Rogers. It just goes to show you the links that Seth Rogers, the father, is going to here. We're getting a little funny. If you're not speaking, if you could just keep yourselves muted, that would help me, Rob and Tracy. I know it's a little bit of a pain, and then we'll unmute as you go. But Heather, there's a question here from Annie. Is it time to try pinning the mom, Katie Proudfoot, against the father, Chris Proudfoot, with a time-limited bluff about the first one gets the deal kind of thing? Are we at that point yet where you've got to pressure one side or the other?
Well, no, I don't. I'm not at that point. I've only been working this case for 2 days. So I don't know where law enforcement are at with it. But I'm still trying to figure out who I even, believe should be on the radar. And I'm not at a point to, that I'm comfortable publicly saying anything about the Proudfoots.
We're looking at a picture here, obviously, of Sebastian Rogers, missing 15-year-old. If you have tips, 1-800-TBI-FIND, or you just reach out to Heather Cohen through Surviving the Survivor at Gmail, since she's in an official capacity now. This is one photo, and this is another photo that I saw today. This is an Amber Alert. This almost looks like an AI-generated photo, but this is an Amber Alert, one of two that I think are still active. That may have changed since last week, but last week I know there was one of two active in the nation at that point. Tracy,
there is an endangered missing child alert. There is an Amber Alert. And folks, you have to remember, there has to be a just cause, evidence of type of situation that a child was removed by a vehicle, taken away, carried away. That don't just happen. But remember, we have a 3:10 a.m. video showing lights generating from a car in the back of the Proudfoot's home. Those two lights meet up and go to the waiting car that turns on, starts the car, the headlights and the tail lights come on. It's very plain to see. There's no evidence he left the house, except for he had to be taken out of that home. Exactly, Caroline. That's what it's going to be. I agree with you 100%. That is the smoking gun. And the fact that the one parent that was with this child, can't even tell the same story twice. She's lied. He's lied. He's even told on himself about lying. I mean, what more can we say? I am not understanding what process law enforcement is going through, what they're waiting on. We just have to be patient, and it is so hard to do, because I honestly believe that once those two get put in separate rooms and questioned hard enough, one of the two will crack. And yes, I'm sorry to say this, I don't talk about other creators, but yes, Alicia, I agree. She has veered off the tracks in a very bad way. Oh, that good old boy system, Falker's dad. It gets them. It gets them through. It's gotten them through before. And they're using every bit of their power now for it to come through. But their time's going to be up soon. I honestly believe that. This is too big. And that good old boy system will start cracking. And when that happens, the gig's up. And in my opinion, all those explosions we're hearing from Mr. Chris is nerves. He's getting a little antsy. People are getting a little too close. to what is possible, what could be found. Yeah, Magic Star, the dominoes are starting to fall very slowly.
Casey, I'm just wondering the same question I asked Rob, just from a very wide perspective, your thoughts on this case about a 15-year-old seemingly just disappearing out of his bedroom 7 weeks ago without shoes. Just remember to unmute yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to remind me of that one. Several thoughts. One is, of course, she mentioned Devin Bond, a case we worked a while back, who was a teenager and went missing, just up and disappeared. Then there's Joe Clyde Daniels, Baby Joe, in this Mid-South, Middle Tennessee. He was an autistic child that disappeared.
Yes, Michelle.
So you have those two cases that kind of buddy up with this case on either side. I try not to get tunnel vision. That's the worst thing you can do, is get tunnel vision if you are.
Oh, that's classy of the PI, sitting there smoking on a podcast. She could have stopped her camera at least. Just my opinion, folks. Just my opinion.
Looking at everything. And if he was out without shoes on, maybe he walked, the camera would have gotten him, but maybe he walked somewhere and someone picked him up, so he wasn't there long without shoes. And his glasses, I'm not quite sure on the glasses if they're missing or if they found the glasses or he has the glasses with him, because why would you have the glasses with him if there was something wrong? I'm not sure that. I'm still hung up on the glasses and where they are.
Yeah,
Heather?
well, I'm glad you brought that up, because at one point they said that a pair of glasses were found, and then they made it abundantly clear they were not Sebastian Rogers' glasses. But I think everyone assumed that his glasses are missing or went missing. So that's an interesting question to try to get you from Charmaine Lilly. Joel, can we add the petition link that Seth has started to get help from the FBI? That you'll find it if you Google it, and we should get that up. Rob, I'm sorry. Did you want to jump in, Rob?
No, I just, she mentioned tunnel vision, and I think that's one of the most important things, because as an investigator, having done like the sniper case, when the profilers came out and gave us a profile, everyone kind of got tunnel vision, and it really closed our eyes to those things. No matter how, I've seen so many cases that you're like, oh, the parents are guilty because they're not talking like you think they should, but everyone goes through different feelings. And then you get tunnel vision and you're not looking for those other things. So I think the most important thing is you have to keep your eyes open wide, so that when a fact or something comes up, that you're willing to go down the right road to follow it, even though like he's not making sense and we believe he's lying about something. Again, a lot of times you don't know why they're lying. They might be thinking something else, but that wide aperture of allowing the facts to tell you things, and that you go down them, that you're not afraid to, I think is one of the most important things on these cases, that you just don't know. Even though it might be really, really hard to believe that a 15-year-old walks away. Like she said, someone could have picked him up. The worst thing that in the world that could happen to this, we always say, is if he wandered out on his own, but wasn't communicating with anyone, and then somehow someone picked him up and did something to him, because then you don't have any leads of communication, and he really was not talking to anyone and just walked away. That would be the worst case scenario, but you have to follow all of them.
Okay, so we know for sure there was a pair of glasses found. They were said those were not the glasses that Sebastian was wearing. There's rumors going around that says those were an old pair of Sebastian's. So why would an old pair of Sebastians be found not far from Chris's mother's house? I have questions, folks. Still, I have questions on the glasses. Did at one time Sebastian wear those glasses? Yes or no? We've heard they were not the glasses he was wearing currently. They did not belong to him at that time. So, as possible, he still has his glasses with him. But why would a pair that was an old pair be lying in the street not far from Mr. Chris's mother's house? See, I've heard all kinds of things. So I don't know for sure. That's what I say. I still have questions about the glasses. There's still just that little bit of doubt out there as to whether they were at one time or not his. So, anyways.
Lindsay Shea, thank you for this. I'll be honest, there has not been a lot of news, not a lot of movement on this, which is precisely why I'm doing it, because these cases begin to fall out of the media spotlight. And I want people to stay focused on finding Sebastian. Again, it is the 7th week that we're in here. Rob, just back to you on this. Someone brought up an interesting point that I had not seen brought up before, which is he's got a school bus driver, he's got classmates, and there's been no talk at all. I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but let's just say you were the lead investigator. Are you looking at everyone? I mean, are you speaking?
Heather, yes. Seth told us that he had replaced several pairs of his glasses, but he never confirmed that those were or were not his that were found on the road. So I don't know. I mean, it just leaves questions sitting there. So the glasses are iffy. There's nothing that confirms or denies, I guess, is what we should say.
Speaking to the bus driver? Are you speaking to the parents of classmates?
You absolutely have to. You don't know what thing that he said that may give you that
yes, no,
he may only have trusted
yes.
so many people to talk to or said something, and you have to go back to him multiple times, because a lot of times they think they told you, and then they may remember something. It may be something that comes up and you're looking through all his notebooks in school. Was he doodling something? Was he writing something? Did he say something offhand? And you just have to constantly go over things and fresh set of eyes, have another investigator come in to look at it, because sometimes you get tunnel vision on something and you don't see it the same. So hopefully they're doing that. And that's, when you get into, like, if TBI gets involved or the FBI, you get fresh sets of eyes. You get people that aren't maybe locked into a local thing that's going on, to look at it differently. And you have to just keep pushing that with it. And it's one of those, you don't know where that lead's going to come from. I remember when I worked Fugitives Saturday night when America's Most Wanted was coming on, we hated it because we were running around the city with all these crazy leads, but you never turn that off, because guess what? One of them is going to be the right lead to find something, and you just can't discount it. And if you have investigators that are burned out or something, that's the worst thing you can do, is you got to give them breaks. You got to have them come back in. You got to have someone look at it in a case like this.
I'll tell you this. I know that they have talked to kids at his school. There were people that knew him, his classmates. I know they were talked to. I know teachers told what they knew. And little Miss Sharon says, for a start, Sebastian was telling the teachers he was being abused. Exactly. We've recently had it confirmed that Mr. Chris had an aunt related to his mother that worked for CPS or DCS. So that explains that, I would say. It's crazy. From the very
So Rob, you must know our friend Lenny
beginning,
DePaul.
guys.
Yeah, he's from Fugitive Manhunters. Good dude out of New York. Linda Vergata here. This is a great question. Is there any proof that he did not have more than 3 pairs of shoes? How can we be sure? Heather, to you on this one, the information we're getting about the shoes, I believe, is coming from the mom, Katie Proudfoot. So how can we be so sure that at this point that maybe he left with another pair of shoes? I don't know.
I mean, I don't think we really can be sure of that. But I think for me, the biggest mind bender about this whole case is the fact that something that we learned today from the sheriff, which I don't know how much of this has been out publicly, but he talked to us. I sat down with Sheriff Weatherford today at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and he said that, you know, they've got footage from ring cams of Sebastian coming out, dropping the trash in the trash bin, going back in. They've got his lights coming on in his room. They've got footage of him going in. There's no footage of him ever coming out. I mean, that's the big mind bender here, is that there's not even any proof that he ever left the house. They have nothing. I mean, nothing.
No evidence, nothing.
Yeah, that's amazing right there, because you just don't even know where to begin, which is, I'm going to come back to you on that. Jody Arrington, I seem to remember law enforcement not wanting to comment about the lights. There was this talk about 2 flashlights on the front lawn. Tracy, I don't know if you recall this, but I think they went back and said, hey, those were really just floodlights from the opposite side of the house. Do you have any information on this, Tracy?
I do, and I got it from this great PI that's working the case. And yes, they were floodlights. They have determined that they were floodlights, not flashlights.
And that, I mean, that could change the perspective of the case in some way.
Folks, you heard her say it. They have confirmed it was floodlights, not flashlights. I have to disagree, and this is my reason why. Floodlights are attached to your home. They're attached to a building of some sorts. Flashlights are held in your hand and move as you walk. So, no, I don't agree with that. They've tried to put out all different things. Yeah, butterflies. Never seen floodlights moving. They have, yeah, most floodlights have motion type of sensor to them. Exactly. And you saw Heather there. I mean, she's shaking her head. Yeah. Or Chloe, whoever she is, whichever one she is here. She's just shaking her head. Yep. They're floodlights. But we know that's what the Proudfoots want them to be. They want them to either be floodlights or a trash truck. But folks, they can say whatever they want to. The only possible logical explanation for 2 moving lights are a flashlight, a headlamp, a cell phone light, or any other form of light that is carried on your body. Yeah, if they carried floodlights, that would definitely bring attention to them, wouldn't it? Oh my gosh, yes, it's insane crazy. But there are floodlights on the home, on the corner next to the Proudfoot's home. You do see those, but you also see 2 lights moving. And no matter how hard people try to discredit that video, it was released. We have seen it. And there's no debunking it, folks. Here we go. Let's listen some more.
Ways, because I think at the point where they thought there were flashlights, they assumed that maybe it was someone possibly even leading Sebastian out, but that is proving not to be the case. This petition is what Amelia is talking about here. I signed that flyer for the FBI to take over on this case that's out that Seth had made for Sebastian. Did you guys see that? It's huge. Rob, would the FBI ever take over a case because the public is petitioning for it? I'm curious what your thought is.
No, it's one of those where the FBI will get more involved on the request of the police. If someone could prove some for some crazy reason that it wasn't something was going on odd, maybe, but we're not going to take over the case. So those are a bit extreme. We may provide more resources based on what they're asking. If they have a lead, we may send down one of our aircraft that can even look at. We have aircraft that have sensors that can find shallow graves and some other technology that if something comes up, that they'll request it and come down. But we're not going to take the case over. We're going to just work with them.
Rob, let me ask you a question you can't answer. Why is there no shortage of violent crime in this country? Why does it just never, ever end?
Actually, I've been around the world and there's no short of violent crime anywhere. I was just talking to somebody today about this, and I just never am not surprised at the ability of other humans to harm humans.
Oh, he must be talking about the YouTube streets in the crime area in that neighborhood where those two conflicting communities collide. That's insane. He just said what we are seeing with our own eyes in our side of the street. We're being attacked. People are being attacked all the time. Nonstop. And they don't think nothing of it. They think it's their legal duty, their God-given right to show a picture of a home of a lady that is a subscriber to a channel they don't like. Folks, they put out a picture of Sinner's house. This is Sinner's house. Here's the address. He lived there in the early 2000s, 20,000. Like 2013, I think he said, or 2012, 11, something around there. So whoever lives there now, their house was doxed. And if people believe them and live anywhere around there, can you imagine what could happen to the people that live in that home that he no longer and hasn't lived in a long time? You're right, butterflies. This BS is because we stand for Sebastian. They do not want him found. They don't want anything to discredit them and their made-up story. I'm telling you, it's sad what we're having to deal with here. You're afraid to even chat in someone else's chat because they may be the next target. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, what a shit show. Yep. I'm telling you, folks, I don't care who it is. Missing person cases and drama do not belong together in no way, form, or fashion at all.
It's worse in some places, and though this country's not short of it, and it's unbelievable when you start looking at it.
Yeah, it's I mean, it does happen elsewhere. It just seems, I mean, obviously we're here in the States, but it's got to stop. I guess it's been going on since the beginning of time. My thing is, why don't people understand like this case out of Oklahoma? I mean, these people are going to sit in prison more than likely for the rest of their lives. Why don't people think about those repercussions, Rob?
So many of them think they can get away with it, and like the more TV shows they watch, thinking they watched enough CSI to get rid of bodies or whatever. It's just amazing how stupid. It's amazing how stupid criminals are. I mean, I've seen bank robbers write the demand note on their own deposit slip, and surprised that the police show up, 20 minutes after they get home. And it just gets into a point where people start, especially in groups. I mean, group think on things like this. You look at the people in Oklahoma, because I made some comments on that. Again, what were they thinking that it wasn't going to come back to if there's a child dispute, that it's going to come back to them? And do they really think they have the capability to hide a crime scene? You think watching CSI makes you smart enough to do it, but the technology that's coming out that the police can use, that we can bring in, is just unbelievable. But the best part, though, is when you get an investigator who has some scientific evidence against someone who's lying, especially if you're trying to get 4 people to say the same thing, you're going to find the shortcoming in the story. You're going to find the weak one, and then you're going to go after them to tell on others. And it's one.
Magic Star says someone who thinks they're smarter than everyone else. Who, in this case, does that remind you of? Gee, probably the man that says if you're going to play with fire, you should play with someone who's not as smart. Not so smart, or something like that. Not as smart as him. It's insane, crazy.
It's one of those things I think you really have to look at on this case. Okay, if we assume the worst, that it was somehow the mom or the stepdad, what really transpired to do this? What was it? Something he did that then was an encounter that got too far? Or was it something that they had planned further on? For some reason, they wanted to get rid of him. As bad as that sounds. So then you have to look at, he says he was in, was it Memphis? I think he said
Memphis. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up. Memphis.
Yeah. In so many ways. Like, did he leave his cell phone in Memphis? Did the vehicle he had that has GPS, was that checked out? Was he really in Memphis? Because in order to appear in Memphis, you have to do a lot of things electronically to do that, that you can also check on. Or was it something that happened with the mom and then he came back and covered it up? What were those things? So you have to start going down, we call red selling that, like really understanding if that was what would happen, then that encounter, they saw the camera saw him bringing the trash out. They saw his light go on. So they're putting timeline on there so that they can get it down to, okay, if something happened, it happened between this time in that house. And did they actually request to do a search warrant in the house, to blacklight it, to do all the other things, on the police side, to see if a crime was committed in there. I did hear, now the shoes though, that the biological father said 3 pairs of shoes too. And I don't know if he was those, some kids, I think my wife would be able to tell you exactly what pairs of shoes the kids had when they were little, because she was so involved with them. But I think he actually said, someone had said about furniture, and there was a new bed in the garage or something. Well, why did that happen? Why did you just get this bed that's in the garage? Is it replacing something? Start going down those roads to really see if, in fact, something happened. And, scientifically, there's lots of ways to find out, if an item was, had DNA on it and stuff like that. So they really have to start going down. I think now is the time that they really have to start pressing on, well, let us search your house. Let us do some forensic evidence collection in your house if you guys are really innocent. I don't know if that's been done or not. If they asked him, it's the same thing with the polygraph. He said he took one to one person, and he said he didn't. And they say that the police told him he didn't have to. I don't know any cop that would say, hey, you don't have to take a polygraph. Like, I would polygraph everybody, if they're willing to do it. So especially the stepdad. Well,
He's been proven wrong, so no worries there. The police never told him that. He lied. He lied, and he lied again. Where was he? Why does he not want to take a polygraph. They can tell us all day long that he took one, but I don't believe them at all.
Because even if I proved he was in Memphis, well, then I would ask him if he knew what happened to him, meaning like maybe the mom did it and he's covering up. So that on the polygraph, I'm going to go after him on that. It's not just that he's in Memphis.
Yeah, and Nancy Grace tried cornering him into a polygraph, and he wiggled his way out of that. So, but that's, I guess, going back to the whole tunnel vision issue is, are we just so thirsty to get him? But we'll see how it plays out. This is great. We'll go in the opposite clockwise here with a guest, Nikki Cuds, our friend in the NYC in New York. Do we know? And I know he's high functioning, but Tracy, do we know his verbal communication skills? What level they are at? If he would be able to explain something to someone out in the public?
I do not know 100%. I know that he is. They were saying that he could make his way down to get some ice cream. He knew how to walk that far. He knew the route to take. He knows the route to take to his dad's house. So that tells me he is not at a extremely high IQ level on the majority of things.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there for a minute. First of all, Lolo, thank you so much. You are so sweet. I appreciate that. And yes, it does make the other side mad, which is insanely crazy to me because their chats are screaming with them, but we over here are grifters. But thank you so much. Let's play a happy dance for this as a thank you. Let me get up to it. Here we go. This is for you, Lolo. It's not going to play there. So I don't know what it's doing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And it's, it's amazing the things they're saying here because, folks, this is everything we've been talking about. Everything. This is all the things that we've said, we've talked about, we've gone over, all of it. They saw it at 7 weeks, and they're professionals. Well, except for the one in the bottom left over there. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, Neuro says that night had satellite evidence. Let's look at this. Satellite evidence of the Bowerstocks home on the 23rd, and have a guess whose truck, who should not talk about, was on the drive, allegedly. I bet we could all guess. Yes, Lady for Justice. Seth is. He is a real daddy and a father. Yes, yes, yes. I agree totally. Oh, I tell you, Lori, I have been hearing some stuff that's totally insane from the other side that just blows my mind why they would even want to go there. I have, and while I'm paused, while we're taking this little break here, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been emailing me. It is so awesome to get the emails and to read them and to hear your thoughts, where your mindset is on different things, because, we're in this together. And to be able to interact with you through emails and all, it's just amazing. And thank you all that have done that, because it's a really great way to open my eyes to something that I haven't thought of before. And, you know, we've talked about it before. There is a lot of that good old boy system within the law enforcement in that town. While we listened to Nina's interviews, she tells us how her two children that are young, the oldest was 7 at the time, I believe, and then the baby. She has her baby in her arms, her other 2 at her side, and trying to get away from the Proudfoot that was in the car, while his sister says, run her over. Go put it in reverse and run her over. And yet law enforcement did not open the door for her. It was locked. They didn't open it. When they finally did, Lady for Justice, yes. Yes. Email me. But while they have her put in a room, they turn off the lights. Her and 3 small children. This is what we're up against, basically. Because they lived in Hendersonville, Tennessee at the time of that case. And I did have someone that emailed me and is going to be sharing with me some insight from a local person to Sumner County and how corrupt things really are. Very anxious to have that conversation. So let's listen to some more of this. And folks, I don't know if y'all are as amazed as what I am that at 7 weeks, they already started seeing what we've all been seeing and talking about this whole entire time. It's not just us. We're not making this up. It's obvious. Here we go. Let's get this going again.
He has some obviously lower in that range of being able to just, I know plenty of autistic people that live their lives, go to work every day, went to college, like that. I don't think he's that capable.
Okay.
Okay, now, do you hear what she just said? I do not think he is that capable. I question that. And the reason why is because in the very beginning, and even Katie said on her 1-year mark interview, I think people were misinformed or misunderstood. No, honey, we took your words to heart because you are his mother and you would know more than anyone else. But it was his mother that said he is very young in mind, while his stepfather says he might be 15, but he's more mind-wise, like he's 11 or 12. Folks, those are the people that lived with Sebastian. We're supposed to believe them. The liars. We now know they are liars. And so, no, I don't even believe that he was that young in mind. And as she began to be called out for it, she had to find a new story to explain away why people would think that. But to be very clear, that was because of his mother and his stepfather who put out the story from the very, very beginning that he ran away from home and he was very young in mind. And we know those two things are a lie. Yes, Rachel. TikTok exploded over here. And that is when the problems began.
Knowing that, I'm sure law enforcement knows that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
From Jazz, these are great questions coming in. Heather, I don't know if you know this, you'll probably find this out now that you're actually involved in the case. Have they done a door-to-door search in that community? Now, I do know that the Sumner County Sheriff has asked at one point, I don't know if he still is, for residents in Hendersonville, at least, to check their properties twice a day. But do you know if a door-to-door search was done, Heather?
I'm sure in the immediate area. I don't know that they've expanded out for, door-to-door knocks beyond that. But I do know that they have done 5-mile radius search. They've had the technology, the high technology aircraft that flies over that can see the thermal. The way it was explained to me during the Cummins case, that they were flying 10,000 feet above and they could see him limping through the woods. Well, that is the same technology that they used in a 5-mile radius looking through the woods for Sebastian.
Real quick, just before I forget, I'm sorry. My friend Kevin Fixler, who is AP Reporter of the Year in Idaho, he is breaking a fairly interesting and big story on Brian Kohberger tomorrow. That will be in the Idaho Statesman, and we're going to have him on tomorrow night with some guests to discuss that. It's a busy week. And then on Thursday, we're getting some new information in the...
Heather Ann, I agree with you on that. Her green heart tattoo isn't going to help find Sebastian, and neither was her going 2 months after he went missing to go gambling at the casino. That had nothing to do with helping find her son. But that's what she did after she came back from her vacation. They're not looking for him, y'all. They are not looking for him. Any search that is videoed is staged. Anybody can walk around and kick some leaves. They're not doing anything.
The Ellen Greenberg case. I just spoke to, this is the case that I wish all these investigators would take up. Back in, I want to say it was 2011. It was 2011. Ellen Greenberg is engaged to her fiance, a guy named Sam Goldberg.
Yes, Lady Justice, I'm going to be going over that. I wanted to get this over with. And then tomorrow we'll be talking about the America's Most Wanted as soon as we can and getting ready for that interview. And then I've got some more stuff. But yes, thank you for sending that. That was very powerful.
It's a snowy night, and it's a nor'easter coming in. And lo and behold, he says that she was stabbed 20 times. Turns out she stabbed 20 times, 10 of them to the back of her head. 2 were after rigor mortis set in, which means that it happened after she had already died, post-mortem. So a lot of shady things going on there. It's a Philadelphia corruption story. It's been going on way too long. The case has never, ever, ever been investigated, and it's being kicked around the different districts in Pennsylvania, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So her parents are set to join us, and I'm hoping that her attorney, we're trying to do that on Thursday night. From WebFan, Joel, was the game station of Sebastian Rogers retrieved? The account saves his last interaction and whom he was playing with. Heather's nodding her head yes. Now, Heather, I've heard contradictory reports. I heard that he wasn't a gamer. He wasn't allowed to play games. And then some people say he was a gamer. You're shaking your head yes. What do you know?
He was allowed to play at his father's. His PlayStation and his father's PlayStation were both taken. They have both of them.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Now remember, his PlayStation, there was a game purchased on it after Sebastian went missing. But folks, they forget to tell you it was before law enforcement took those items. How easy would it be to purchase that game, even with Sebastian not being there? Just saying.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, obviously we always hear about computers being seized, but I'm not sure how they will. We can ask Rob about that in a minute. But Heather, back to you. Now that you've made it publicly known that you are working on this case and you were hired by Sebastian Rogers, the biological father, where I asked you this last time, but now it's a real question. Where do you begin here?
Yes, K-Mac.
Well, so,
yes.
I started with talking, trying to talk to all, the family members, the immediate family members. But where I'm at right now, all day yesterday, all day today, I've been focusing on the sex offenders in the immediate area. I found there's some very interesting facts about that. There is a sex offender, very, very close, who has several sexual or aggravated sexual assault charges, one on a minor under the age of 13.
Can you say, is this within a few blocks, a mile? I mean,
this is within a mile.
Within a mile, okay.
Correct.
So you think you'll start there, looking at some of these people, is that right?
That's where I'm at right now, yes.
Rob D'Amico, back to you on this, and feel free to comment on that. But I'm just curious, you're 7 weeks in and nothing. Do you have to do like a proverbial reset at some point and kind of take a breath and look at everything you have and then kind of try to figure out where to pivot from?
I think you do. I would hope maybe TBI has a team to come in to do that, so that the main investigator stays on his leads and stuff, and you have a team to come in, like I said, red cell it to look at it to see if a bias is coming in there. But the sex offender, it reminds me of a story. I don't know if you remember, Jimmy Rice disappeared down in the Redlands south of Miami when I first got an FBI. It's one of the first big cases I worked. And we all kind of pointed, because the parents had gone away and the 17-year-old brother who had some problems, we started looking at that. And it turns out later on, it was a sex offender who lived a couple miles away, got very bold and grabbed them between the bus stop, 50 yards from the house. And it was one of those that a lot of people were looking at the family because there was no evidence of that grab at all. He got off the bus, was walking, and the person pulled up in a car and grabbed, pointed a gun at him, told him, come in. And it was only, I think it was, the guy worked on a kind of a farm in the area and was staying in a trailer, and the people that hired him thought some things were missing. So the husband took him to the store, and the wife walked into the trailer looking for the stuff that was stolen and saw Jimmy Rice's book bag. And that was the key. So, and it was around 7-8 weeks after that happened, but we were focused on the brother. It was, there's some issues there, and the parents were away. So it was one of those that you have to keep running down and you have to keep searching. Leads will follow up, and something doesn't make sense. I think there's enough facts in both the stepdad and the mom's story that you can really start looking at it if in fact they're lying. And if they're lying, then you can start pulling apart things. And then at one point, I think they're going to find one of the lies is more so. Like if something happened with the mom and it happened there, and the stepdad came home and is helping cover it up, you're going to start seeing things, and they're going to start being able to pit one against the other type of thing, figuring out how to do that. But you still have to run down those leads with all the sex offenders and stuff like that. It may be a whole different reason why they're lying and why they're getting caught up in these lies that are silly, because you're telling one person one thing on camera and someone else something totally different. And we all kind of focus on that, but it could be that outside thing that someone came across him, and it could have been he was outside for some reason, and then that offender did something. So keeping those eyes open. But I think a red cell team, like you talk about, to come in and put a fresh set of eyes on it to understand, are they looking in the right spot? Is there something they're missing?
I think they're missing a lot. I think they're trying to build a huge case. And in doing so, these people are feeling justified, like they're innocent because nothing has happened to them. They're privileged enough that they can continue to spout off as much as they want to, and as disgusting as it is. This is 7 weeks in, and he said the mother and the stepfather should be looked at first. They should be the people sitting in different rooms being questioned with hard questions. Mr. Chris wants the hard questions. They should put him in a room and they should give him those hard questions. But yet, he didn't take a lie detector test, maybe because the questions were too hard. I don't know. Just asking for a friend, you know.
Yeah, that's actually the first time. I mean, Heather brought this up about looking for sex offenders, child sex offenders in the area, and I hadn't heard that. But obviously, that is a very smart place to start.
When we start looking, it's amazing how many there are. When we looked in Redlands, and this is before apps like Citizen and stuff that tell you where they are, it was like 200 within a 10-mile, and we're like 200. We're like, holy cow! Yeah. Like, are you kidding? And then you start looking at it, and it's amazing how many are out there. They're good and those are the registered ones. And then you may have someone that didn't register.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, Rob, but maybe a month or two ago, right here in Miami Beach on 71st and Collins, some guy charged 74th and Collins, which is the CVS my dear mother goes to. Father was walking in with his wife and child, and the guy tried to literally abduct the child, pick him up, and tried to run out the store, CVS. So it can happen in much closer proximity, I think, than even 50 yards. That was scary as hell.
But there is no evidence that any of that happened. I can't get past that. I may be stubborn and I may be closed-minded or whatever anybody wants to say about it. But the evidence shows Sebastian never left his home. There was a camera across the street from their home, focused straight out. It covered the front of their home. There was no sighting of Sebastian anywhere. We saw the camera from the corner around the back of their side of their house. We saw 2 flashlights go into their backyard, go into a car. That's evidence. Sebastian would have had to have someone come to meet him. And if he knew he was going to meet someone and take his flashlight and go out in the dark in his backyard and across the common space, folks, he would have put some shoes on. In my opinion, that was an oversight on his mother's part.
Analytical Blarney, AB, friend of the show, gifting the memberships. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. This is just eating away at me. And Tracy, I'm curious to get your take on this. From Aria Dakota Grimaldi Lane, a great name. Apparently, the Proudfoots have moved out of their Tennessee home and moved to Memphis. How does this look to law enforcement? Heather saying no. Tracy's saying no. So where are they now? Tracy,
I'm not going to say where they are.
Okay,
but they are not in the Memphis. They are not in the Memphis area.
Are they close to Hendersonville? Are they in Hendersonville? I mean,
yes.
Okay.
In the area, they're in the area of where they were.
But there were reports that they took off. Did that raise your alarm at all, Tracy?
It in some ways, yes, and in other ways, you got to look at it. These people are being threatened with their lives. It's
wrong. I call BS. Nobody has threatened their life. Why would someone threaten their life? No one but Seth would have the right to threaten them. And he hasn't done that. It's not what's happened, but that's how they put themselves out there. They're the victims, y'all. They are the victims because they're being threatened and harassed and hashtagged. Folks, it's ridiculous. Sebastian is the victim. His mother and his stepfather are not victims. Not for Sebastian being missing. They're victims of their lies. They're victims of being a liar, not telling the truth. That's what they're victims of. K-Mac, yes, that's what was said in court. That's what it all came down to. Betty had hashtags. It's almost as if we should all start hashtagging them. It's ridiculous. They're making themselves out as the victims. When anybody involved in this case, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, or whether it's local people or anyone, all we want is the truth. Where is Sebastian? What happened to him on the 25th of February, 2024? Yes, Sebastian's the victim. But yet, CP repeatedly calls him a liar for the CPS reports. Yes. Because that was against Mr. Chris. Remember, he's the victim. Folks, I'm so tired of the victim game. You don't play victim to be okayed in the public eye to go on vacation when you have a missing child. It does not work that way. I'll tell you this much. In my opinion, Sebastian's mother and stepfather need to learn how to grow the hell up.
It's full on down here. You know, when that local lynch mob gets going, they see it one way.
There is no lynch mob.
But yeah, I can understand why they moved and needed to just get away at that point. And I did want to add too that the TBI comes in on a missing persons case, if I'm correct. However, they must be invited in if it becomes a homicide. Am I correct in that? Shake your head, Heather. I'm pretty, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know with cases that one of the cases that in another county in Tennessee, that they were there as soon as there was a missing person. However, they were not invited into the homicide when the body was found, and they were not part of that investigation.
One thing I wanted to ask Rob about, because he's talking about inconsistencies in statements, and I watched that Nancy Grace interview, Rob, with
Miss Heidi. Is that not the funniest thing you've ever heard? Is that not crazy? They didn't, did they? Insane to me how they play the victim. Welcome, Heidi. Welcome, Tisme, Heather Ann, Magic Star. Everybody, welcome, and thank y'all for being here. This is an interview that was done 7 weeks after Sebastian went missing. They're talking about the same things we've seen. Except for the lady at the bottom with the blonde hair feels that the lynch mob attacks on the parents was enough for them to go on vacation, and for mother to go stay with father and to go to a casino and all the things. I'm telling you, if she was seriously in no way involved, that woman would sit there in that house every single day waiting for her child to come in that door. She would be terrified to leave it. She would not be worried about any harassment. She wouldn't be worried about hashtags. Hey, Mystery Sky. I'm telling you, folks, it's out of control. Stupid is what it is.
Katie and Chris Proudfoot pretty closely, and Chris Proudfoot at one point when he's asked about going to Memphis, because I think at one point they did do that, He offered information. I brought this up on the show before, but it's just kind of stuck in my brain. He says to Nancy, well, Nancy, there's no way I could have done it. Something along these lines. It's a 3 hour and 37 minutes door to door. And he said exactly, it was almost like an alibi. It was almost like, hey, I couldn't have done this because look, it's 3 hours. It wasn't 3 hours and 35 minutes. It wasn't 3 hours and 30, it was 3 hours and 37 minutes. Curious if you picked up on that, what you made of it.
If I could show you my notes from that interview, I'm like 3 hours and 37 minutes, not 3.5 hours. Like, did you like it? Again, when you look at people when they're lying and telling stories and making things up, what you remember and such, like the 337 was just one of those things that just caught my attention to do that and to understand that. And it was one of those that I said, someone who's making an alibi thinks that, oh, if I give really good detail, they'll believe me type of thing because they read that in, one of those books about, undercovering lies and such. But that amount of detail. But then again, he doesn't remember what the son was lying about when he whipped him with the belt. But he remembers the 337. So it goes in and out. They
Whoa. Did y'all hear that? Boy, he just called Mr. Chris out, didn't he? He can't remember why Sebastian lied and the reason for whipping him with the belt. But he can remember down to the minute how long it took him to drive that drive. Selective memory, I call it. Oversharing is a huge red flag. And Mr. Chris does it in spades.
They remember certain things when they want to, and they don't remember certain things when they don't want to. But it was definitely one of those, it caught my attention. And I said, someone who's like laying that alibi out thinks if I give them a lot of detail, they're going to believe me. So 3 hours and 37 minutes caught my attention right off the bat. I wrote it down saying, okay, that's a bit much for me to understand that excuse. That alibi building thing.
That excuse. I love how he worded that, folks. I like this guy. K-Mac says, I also do not trust Jeff, CP's alleged boss. I'm having serious trust issues with this case. Guys, I'll tell y'all, I'm going to be straight up honest with y'all. So do I. And I'll be seriously honest with you when I say every single one of y'all in chat, I've pulled your YouTube channels. Because anybody that's had a channel just since Sebastian's gone missing, I question. And I hate that I do that. But it's because of the people we're playing with. The people that are playing with Sebastian's case has caused that to happen. I will say hello to Mr. Chris, because if he is not in this live stream right now, he will listen. He listens to everyone. He's been in here several times already. And every time it's a different name. And every time a different name pops up, the other name mysteriously is not in chat. Yeah, Magic Star. Paranoia is in this case is unfortunate. And I'm not doing it because I want to be nosy. Yeah, Deborah, he has. He has. And it has been proven. And it's sad. It's pathetic. Come in as yourself. Be yourself. If you're so proud to be Christopher Proudfoot, then come in as yourself. It's just the paranoia. You have to be careful. You have to watch your back. I haven't done many members' lives because of that fact. We can't choose who gets gifted memberships. And yet there has been a couple of times he was gifted. So it's crazy. Should not have to be this way. If I wanted to talk to Seth, I could get a message to him and he would talk to me, I'm sure. I feel confident. And folks, just so you know, he's not in here saying positive things about himself. Now, that would be too easy to spot. It's crazy how they play this game. That's not a game. They are not the victims in their own game they're playing. But they want to be. Yes, walking on eggshells is not comfortable. Yeah. And I don't like it. I don't like the fact that I see a new name and I look at your page. I'm not trying to be nosy. I just want to make sure you're who you say you are. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't trust no one. There's emails out there that have hung that were sent by Barbecue Lady. And that's been proven. Yes, Narita. Yes. You know, they've put out text messages as if it came from Sumner County law enforcement the day of the vigil. That was never sent out by law enforcement. It was created by the PI on the other side. Yes, Deborah, see, that happens too. It's insane. It should never have to be like that. Hey, True Crime Junkie, how you doing? Brown Eyed Girl goes, I'm not fake. I am who I say I am. And that's what you're getting with me. I mean, you can ask anybody that's talked to me. This is who I am. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you what I think. Oh, yes. There are those lamps. They're called, I think, your best friend lamp or something. And there's different colored lights that you can touch or make it do a different light. And they will get that same colored light. Those are being used for codes, I hear. Are not a robot, beep beep. So, yeah. There's all kinds of little things like that, but these are the kind of people we're dealing with, and it makes us all paranoid. It makes us all nervous. Because, folks, we don't think like that. I know I don't. I don't think like that at all. I don't want no part of thinking like that. And I've had to learn how to look for those thoughts, those warning signs, those signals that are being put out there. I'm a very honest person. I'm not going to be someone that talks about you behind your back and then turn around and praise you and to your face. Ain't just me. Oh, enjoy your dinner. Oh, got your great niece. Oh, I love those times. My great niece, I have two great nephews I have two nephews that are both having baby girls. They just found out. Yeah. Exactly, L. Kennedy. Yeah, it's like a Grisham novel. Yeah. But that's the word that I've gotten. Whether that's true or not, I cannot verify. But that is what the word is. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, Michelle. Yeah. You know, Facebook's just as bad because those people watch everything there. They watch everything over on TikTok. They watch everything on YouTube. But yet, we're the ones that sits on our computer 24 hours a day, grifting. It's insane, folks. It's insane. And we're the ones that are causing the problem. But you listen to this man. He even said the time that this stepfather gives is a huge red flag. Every one of us would have probably said about 3.5 hours. Not one of us is going to say 3 hours and 37 minutes to be precise. That's scripted. That's reading from a script. Yes, Mystery, if you're going to have your own channel, you have to be prepared. You have to be ready. Because it can get very bad really quick. Yeah, right? They're now having to change their color code, ain't they? Like I said, I can't even verify that is true, but that is something, you know, that's been told. And folks, I was doing Summer Wells' case, and there was a woman on there that was threatening, you know, if y'all followed Summer Wells, then you know the neighbor very well. She's one nasty hoe, if you ask me, but she didn't like me because I questioned her son and her ex. And so therefore she was going to find out everything about me. I said, go ahead. My name is Loretta Christmas. Go for it. Go for it all you want. All you're going to find is I've had speeding tickets. I like to drive fast. What can I say? That's it. It's insane. It is a lot of work for just cosmetic stuff. But the thing is, there is a whole community of people who love drama. They love to watch as it's unfolding. Yes. Yes, Mystery Sky. You know who I'm talking about. Lord, that woman is still yapping her gums over there for 4 solid years. Not making any sense. Still don't have no friends. But there's that community over there that likes it. They pay for it. Folks, I want you to know Queen Bee had a channel not too long ago. Or had a live not too long ago. I'm trying to think, like, what was it? 4 days ago, I think. Yes, I do, TJ. Yes, I do. I ain't scared. But these people actually said some things that could get them locked away for a very long time. So she puts it in a members only, not just a members only. It's behind a paywall. You have to be the high tier member. You have to pay $100 a month to be in that high tier. She's putting a lot of things over there so she can make the money, because people are paying that to get access to all of her drama. Folks, I have 2 levels. It's a $1.99, and I think the next one's a $3. Is it $3.99? Hang on, let me look. I'm gonna look. $1.99. Oh, $5.99. But we're grifters over here. We're grifters. It doesn't make sense to me. But there are people doing that. And they have Discord, okay? So when they're not on YouTube yapping their gums, they're all in their Discord. And if you're not familiar with Discord, stay that way. My advice. I have been part of quite a few Discords. There's nothing but trouble up in there. You can talk to each other. You could have as many people in your private room. It'll be locked down. You only invite certain people, and you can all have a conversation and talk crap about whoever you want to. And no one else but y'all, the ones invited into that private room, will ever be able to hear it. There's other chat rooms. You can watch other people's lives while they're live, and nobody knows about it because you're in Discord. And I'm telling you, people turn on each other all the time. 'Tis me, I'm telling you, I'm about fed up. I am. And yet, there are those that are leading the charge that think they got everybody scared. But I'll say this. I ain't scared. Not scared at all. Right, Michelle? You're like me. I'm very minimal over here. Y'all don't see a whole lot. I can't even figure out how to download my new Lollipop songs. It's crazy. It's not giving me the option. Oh, Gemini, let me get over here to you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, guys, I'm telling you, you're going to hear me be completely honest. And if I say something and it's just my opinion, you will know that. If I say something that I've heard, I'm going to tell you, this is what I've heard. I can't prove it, but that's what I've heard. And if I actually know something, I will tell you, I have been shown the proof. And I'm not scared of anybody. But I am going to say thank you, Gemini. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm just who I am. I'm a mom. I've had 3 kids. I've lost my middle child in a car wreck. I've been married 2 times my whole entire life to the same person. And we are better living apart. Matter of fact, we just did a family picture with our children and our grandchildren Easter Sunday after church. We had the whole row filled up. I mean, that's my life. I've worked for 2 different cities. I've worked for the Chamber of Commerce. I was a hairdresser for 20 years. I quit doing hair to raise my kids because I was fortunate enough to not have to work. So that's my life. Y'all know my horrible part of my story. Losing my child. 2 weeks later, our divorce was final. And a month and a half later, quarantine hit for COVID. I was now at that point in my home that was full of people all the time to just me. Just me. And I was grieving. And to tell you, depression is real. It is seriously real. Oh, Deborah, thank you. I did cut my hair myself. It got too long and too blah and too heavy. And so I just got my scissors out and cut it not too long ago, probably about, a week ago? Yes, when it rained, it poured. And to tell you, going from a mother of 3 living children to only having 2 living, to go from being a wife to not being a wife, my job shut down, COVID hit, quarantine from that hit, and all of that was overshadowed by the fact that I didn't have my child anymore. Missing him overtook my whole entire life. And for the next 2.5 years, I could care less about anybody or anything. Tis me. Thank you. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. I love y'all. Y'all are so kind and gracious. Thank you, tis me. Double dose. But I started my YouTube channel just to help me have something to do. I was able to not work for several years. And I didn't even want to go to in public. I'm telling you, I would order my groceries from Walmart and drive and lift my back of my hatch thing on my Tahoe. I'd lift it, hit the button and it would come up. I never had to see people except for the person putting my groceries in my car. If it wasn't for my grandkids begging me to come watch them do things, I would have never left my house. That's grief. That is pure grief. Oh, Heather, thank you. I am so much better now than where I used to be. But this is who I am. I do these missing kids because I know what it's like to go 1 minute without your child. You're heartbroken. 'Tis me. Oh my goodness, guys, look. 10 memberships. Y'all, that's amazing. Please, if you were gifted a membership, tell Tis me thank you, because she didn't have to do that. That was out of the kindness of her heart. That is so precious. Now, let's welcome everybody to the South.
Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a right and get down? Welcome to the South.
Welcome to all of our new lollipops. Thank y'all so much. Y'all don't have to do this because I'm telling my story, really. I do appreciate it because it helps me pay my storage, because my whole entire life is in 2 storage buildings right now. And yeah, K-Mac, it is a lot. It is a lot. it was all I could do to keep myself together through that whole thing. But I did. Mystery Sky. Guys, look. 10 more. Oh my goodness, you're so sweet. Thank you for that. Guys, please tell Mystery Sky thank you. That is so gracious. Thank you. Y'all are so sweet. My goodness, how exciting. I love to see our channel grow. I really do. You know, the ones that do grow really huge, they have drama. I've always said I'll be fine with mine just however it is. I will be just fine. And we are just fine with our new members. Welcome, everybody, to the South.
Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get it right and get down? Welcome to the South.
Thank you so much, y'all. Y'all are so sweet. And that's why I've always been, oh, goodness. Oh, Texas Plain Jane. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, no. I remember that. My son was there. She did, didn't she, Mohawk? I didn't even know about this one. I didn't even know about this. But thank you all so much. And if y'all ever want to know anything about me, just ask. Because I'm not hiding nothing. I'm not going to pretend to be somebody I'm not. Because I have seen way too much. And they're not going to find nothing. I'm just me. I live in a small East Texas town. So, oh, thank you, Mystery Skies. That is so sweet. So, let's listen to a little more. And then I think we'll just listen about 5 more minutes. And what we'll do is tomorrow we'll come back and we'll finish this. How about that? How about that? Oh, thank you, Lori. I'm glad because it's just me. I can't pretend. And my face would give it away if I tried. My voice. TJ called or sent me a message yesterday and says, "What's wrong? Who did what to you?" She could hear it in my voice when I was so aggravated. So just, And y'all can probably tell how good of a day I've had just by the sound of my voice. But okay, we're gonna stop this. Let's just stop it here. And tomorrow, guys, my granddaughter took this picture of me. She said, "Put it on your YouTube." I said, "Okay." Yes, it's not tomorrow. You're right. Tomorrow's Sunday. Monday is when it's coming out, y'all. Monday is the interview. So tomorrow we'll finish this interview. And then Monday we'll be getting ready for that. But this is me without makeup. No makeup here. Just been playing with puppies and grandbabies today. So anyways, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. Thank y'all for being here and listening. I thought it was very interesting. Very interesting to hear that at 7 weeks, they heard what we heard. They saw what we saw. It's obvious. You know, oh, thank you, Browna girl. Y'all are so sweet. Not really. Look at my eyes are so small, but when I put makeup on it, they open up. Yeah, K-Mac. I love our TJ. She's been good to me. She's been a good friend. So many of y'all So many of y'all have become like, y'all are my family now. In my family, it's always been, this and that. I was on Shares one time and they were talking about people being from the country, and you could tell just by how they endeared someone. And I was like, well, then you would think we were really country, because my uncle, my kids were growing up with his grandkids. And so they all grew up together and were so close that my kids knew it was his uncle, their uncle, But the other kids called him Papaw, so my kids called him Uncle Papaw. Yeah, that makes sense, huh? But that's what it is. But our family's just so big, everybody's family. Friends, doesn't matter. And y'all are my friends and my family. Narita, we got 5 more members, guys. Oh my goodness. Thank you for that. Let's see. Oh, Rhonda, that's sweet. Thank you, Narita. Guys, please, if y'all were gifted, make sure to say thank you. That is precious of them to do that. And why don't we just play some Dave Finley one more time?
Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a right and get down? Welcome to the South.
Thank you all so much. Y'all are so sweet. I appreciate that. Let me get over here. Took that banner down. All righty. So guys, tomorrow we're going to finish this up because you're going to like the things they're saying. It proves that we're not making up these stories. It really does. And it proves that they are the victims of their lies. That's all it is. They're not the victims of Sebastian's missing case. Sebastian's the victim. They're their own victims. They've created themselves as a victim of their lies that they've told. Yeah, that's it, TJ. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this person said this, or this person did that, or this, and I didn't know it's true. But I'm going to come on here and I'm going to give you their words. And we'll talk about what they said. Because it's their words that's actually showing who they really are. And we now know exactly all the stories we've heard about Mr. Chris and his anger, how easily provoked he is. We see it, we hear it. Nina told stories to us that we actually saw happening later. They own the courtroom. They're not worried when they're in court, laughing, cutting up, talking, all the things. Just what their people were doing. Sebastian is the victim. He's the reason I'm here. The only thing I care about Katie and Chris is for them to tell the truth, especially his mother. Because she holds the key, guys. I've said it all along. She has the magic key that will unlock this whole entire mystery. She put herself in that position when she told us she was home that night with him. There's no evidence at all of him leaving the home. That means he had to been taken out. He had to been taken out in a way for nobody to see. And if we believe that's a trash truck, those two lights that are moving around, It makes their story believable. But Sebastian deserves better. He deserves the truth. All windows and doors were locked. Yes, you know, I mean, come on. And I still say for her to put items on that front porch for him in case he came back, that tells us she changed the code on the front door. Because Sebastian knew the code. So he wouldn't need things on the front porch, right? He could have just put the code in and came in and got them himself. Mostly because, you know, more than not, they would have been gone. But they changed the locks. Because they knew he was not coming back. They knew he would not just show up on their doorstep. They know that. But where is he? So, we're not giving up. We will continue to fight for Sebastian because he deserves it. So, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to go down and get some more puppy lovins. And I will see y'all tomorrow. And let's do the same thing tomorrow. We'll finish this up tomorrow. So, till then, love and hugs, everybody. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.